When I first heard the advice to eat 30 different plants a week,
Eat 30 different plants.
I thought that sounds impossible, especially with children. I imagine complicated recipes and elaborate food prep, lots of ingredients, way too much time that I don't have. Suddenly thought the other day, well, maybe we're already closer than I thought. So this week, I thought I'm going to write down every different plant that my children eat, starting with breakfast. Breakfast is a really easy one because we've got oats, nuts. I make homemade granola, so I put lots of different nuts and seeds in, chop them really fine so that they don't pick bits out, and it just gets mixed with some frozen raspberries and some milk, and they really enjoy it. For fruit, it's sometimes for pudding and it's sometimes snacks. They'll have things like apple. I'm sure your children will have apple, bananas. My daughter is obsessed with kiwis at the minute. Oranges. I'll encompass satsumas and oranges and tangerines all into the same bubble. So oranges, kiwis, apples, strawberries. I've got lentils. I usually use a tin of green lentils and make like a veggie bake thing and put those in. They have little to no texture, so they're just a kind of a filler, so they add some protein. And they can't really taste or see that there. They just add like a slight peppery taste to the food, so that's a really nice, easy one to add. We've got haricot beans, your traditional baked beans, like Heinz baked beans. They are just haricot beans in a tomato sauce. To be fair, I do buy the low salt, low sugar version, but if they're having beans once or twice a week, then they're getting some haricot beans. That's another one. And time for the vegetables column. I've got peas. They'll happily eat peas any day of the week. I do sometimes add like a few drops of apple cider vinegar as well to them, which makes them a bit tangy, something a bit different. Cucumber. What child doesn't like cucumber? My daughter calls it cumbumber, which I just think is adorable. Some beautiful purple potatoes from the garden, which make fantastic chips. And we get through at least one loaf of sourdough bread per week. These are my toasted macadamia nuts, which I make for a snack for them.
Who's grabbing handfuls?
One of my favourite things to use is pesto. The children love it on pasta, just simple pesto pasta. And I might sprinkle a bit of cheese on the top as well. Pine nuts, basil, garlic sometimes, cashew nuts. It's just a really simple and effortless way to get an extra like 3 or 4 different plants into their diet. I think most children would like the taste of this because it's like a cheesy basil, like a pizza-y sort of Italian taste. And I usually mix in some broccoli or some peas to the pesto pasta. So there's another one or 2. I almost forgot Ruben's favourite. Cherries. I buy frozen cherries that are de-stoned because the fresh ones are just too much of a faff. I've also got chickpeas in the form of hummus, which I spread on a flatbread. It's a really easy, quick go-to lunch for the children. Maybe add some falafel, and I add a few bits of lettuce for some greenery. Occasionally they'll have some beetroot too. The children love munching on these and getting in a big mess with them. Sometimes I use the roasted red peppers in a jar. I've got tomatoes. This week I'm using passata in a pasta bake. Now apparently herbs and spices count towards these 30 plants too. So here I'm adding black pepper, some mixed herbs, and one of my favourite ingredients, some paprika. I genuinely expected to get to around 15. I did not expect 42. 42. What really surprised me was not the number. It's that most of these are just normal things, just normal everyday ingredients. Oats, apples, sweet corn, cucumber. The habit of building in these plant sources just grows over time. It's something that quietly happens as time goes on. You start adding in like a little bit of garlic to a meal, and that happens every week. And a handful of seeds. My homemade granola has loads of different ingredients in it, and you can make it as simple or as complicated as you want, but that's such a good way to get loads in straight away. And I think the takeaway is that it doesn't have to be complicated or stressful, and it's certainly not about trying to achieve a certain number per meal or trying to have the perfect meal each time. It's a habit that just grows and you just stay consistent. I mean, it's things like tomatoes and potatoes, like you don't really think of it at the time. It's just, a few surprised me. Like my 2-year-old boy recently tried some of my beetroot, like the beetroot you get in like a little pouch. He absolutely loved it. I wouldn't have given him beetroot, but he loved it. Also, like peppers, they're not going to eat a massive amount of pepper, but if you have one pepper and you're using some for a couple of meals for you, like a stir fry or some salad, if you just cut off like a couple of little slices and pop them in some foil in the fridge, then the next time you make your children's lunch, you could just put a couple of pepper slices and then they might like it. Another one to the list. I think healthy eating often sounds overcomplicated and really time consuming, but I think this is proof that, I mean, all these different plant sources in 1 week, they might not get all of them every single week, but that's quite a variety. And in my head, I genuinely thought I'd only get to about 15. So I'm genuinely curious now. If you kept a list for a week, how many different plants do you think you'd get to? I really want to make a follow-up video to this of how many plants we eat, and maybe we can compare in the comments below. Leave me a comment with how many plants you think you eat in a week, and then try keeping a list for a few days and see what number you get to. Come back and let me know. I'm going to do it too, and I might make a follow-up video. Would you like to see that? Some of these ingredients, like butternut squash, mushrooms, obviously they're not going to eat a huge amount of them. I tend to make like a veggie roll thing that is like loads of vegetables I'll cook in a pan and then with some lentils and then roll into a pastry, like a puff pastry pre-bought, and then it makes like a healthy sausage roll. They really like that because it's all sort of a mush within the pastry. So one of my favourite little hacks is the toasted macadamias, which I've got a video too if you want to give that a watch. I'll get some whole macadamias in a pan, toast them dry until the edges start going a little bit charred and it starts to smell like popcorn at the cinema. It's beautiful. Adds a sprinkling of salt, and you've got this Whole Foods really simple, easy and quite cheap snack. The breakfast, like my cheat sheet of how to get lots of plants in. I really hope that this video made you think a little bit, and I'd be really intrigued to see how many plants you're getting your children to eat. I think for many it would be more than we think. I was a bit worried to find out, but I'm quite pleased with the result. Yeah, maybe the 30 plants a week isn't so unachievable. If you're cooking 1 or 2 homemade meals a week, you're probably using maybe an onion, some garlic in a sauce, some tomatoes or tomato puree. Maybe you could throw a few mushrooms or some grated carrot in. Bolognese is a fantastic one. You can hide so many vegetables in that. Some grated courgette or grated carrot. Every little one just adds up. I hope that you will take something away from this video today. I look forward to seeing you in the grown-up edition of how many plants we eat in a week. I'll see you there.